You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 39. I'm Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Spencer Valadez.
Remember this guy?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So, new comics, and we're opening the show today with some indie stuff. That was Matt Acoin, indie comic creator, sent me 2 issues of his book, Doublethink. It's a mini comic that he puts out monthly with a friend of his, Kevin Kilgore. Spencer, what do you want to say about these sort of fun, slice of life, kind of warm, fuzzy, off the wall?
They were great. Didn't have to worry about, ongoing stuff. You just dive in and you get one-page comics that are seriously funny. He says in the kind of intro of the first page about how it's a life experience kind of thing, and he does a great job. And
you'll get a lot of that within the indie and self-published comics. It's more slice of life stuff. It's not it's one of those anything goes kinds of things.
Right? Yeah. It was a lot of fun for me to read both of them. This one's America.
Number 11 and 12 of Doublethink.
Yeah. First one, 11, is America Runs on Comics, and the second one, Now. The first one's just, there's not much theme overall, but it's a lot of fun. The second one is kind of him talking about his meditation that he's trying to go through, and it's just, if you've ever tried to meditate, exactly what happened to him happened to me. It was funny.
Yeah, but these are fun and funny comics, and they're available for the very low price of $2 an issue, which you can't really beat that. And if you visit, let me see this issue. If you can visit Matt's website at mischiefcomics.com, and his friend and comics co-author worker on the book too, Kevin Kilgore. You can see some of his stuff at chickenfriedcomics.wordpress.com.
Right.
And visit Matt's website. There he has subscription rates for Doublethink, and very cool. Yeah. Very cool stuff.
I hope you keep getting these so I can read them once in a while.
Well, yeah, I may have to subscribe, but
right. Yeah.
But still, very cool.
Yeah.
And if you are listening to the show and you self-publish comics, email us at comic.reflections@gmail.com. We would love to discuss your books on the show.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, big comic. Superman, the Man of Steel is coming out this week.
Yep.
And it's a big week for Superman. The highly anticipated Scott Snyder and Jim Lee limited series, Superman Unchained, is just... The number 1 came out today.
Right.
And it's pretty good.
Yeah, we read it.
I'm not the big Jim Lee guy, so that Jim Lee attached to the book, that's not a selling point for me. Scott Snyder, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think we talked about this a little bit, and we both kind of came to the conclusion where there were a couple boring parts in this book.
Yeah, at number 1, sure, it's going to be slow a little bit, but Superman is established.
Yeah.
We can get right to it, fellas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott Snyder's done great on Batman and what was a Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
But this, I'm like, maybe he's not the guy. I don't know. I'm gonna keep picking up this series, and hopefully it's gonna pick up.
Yeah.
It seems like an interesting new Superman villain's surfacing.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Kind of a 1-page reveal. But cool. One thing I got to complain about is 2 pages in, there's a double-sided poster that's just 2 panels of comics that you have to pull out separate from the book to read.
It's tacky glued in. And,
yeah. And I'm like, what a load of crap. I thought a poster in the center as a center spread or a big 2-page splash in the middle, that's cool.
Right.
But this is garbage. Why would you do that?
Right. It just seemed... It took away from the story. I had to stop. I had to open it. I had to, find the writing. I had to,
Yeah, and when you're reading the comic, then after you've detached it so you can read the thing, then you have to hold it in place so it doesn't fall out of the comic after that.
Yeah.
It's going to be, if you turn around and look for this in a back issue bin or online, you're like, gee, is that still attached, or
Right.
somebody pinned it to their wall.
You have to hope it's still there.
Yeah, what a load of crap. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, we can't really blame the writers or artists in that.
Well, so it was somebody's idea.
It was I think it was probably someone DC's.
Who knows?
Let's add a poster. Posters are cool.
It seems weird though. It's so like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a really an oddball move. So, so Superman Unchained,
Yeah.
could be good. I'm mad that I paid $5 for this.
Yeah.
You know, like was I get the extra $1 to be mad about that poster page? You know, thanks.
Yeah.
But a cool thing that came out also was today. If you went to your local shop, you should have been able to get a reprint of Superman All-Star Superman #1. It's a free book, just to kind of help push that trade, which is excellent, but also Superman, the new movie coming out this week, and Supermania is kind of hitting everywhere again, and that's cool. I've read, All-Star Superman in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. It's awesome. I mean, I sat and read it in one sitting. It was just, I wasn't going to stop. It was just really excellent. You haven't, though.
I haven't, but I was disappointed that I couldn't after reading this.
Yeah, talk about some of your just initial reactions to this.
I mean, it just seems like a good classic Superman story. It's not going to be all the extra frills where like in this other book that we just read.
Right.
Well,
it's not gimmicky. Grant Morrison's one of the best writers in comics.
Right. That's what I was aiming for.
And it's one of the great Superman stories. I will just tell you, All-Star Superman's an awesome book.
Right. And so
Frank Quitely's art, excellent.
Just seeing Superman being vulnerable because of his power.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think it's better than, stick you with kryptonite. Now you're...
Yeah. And in a way, this is one of the ultimate Lex Luthor stories, too.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I would encourage you to read the trade. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
I'll
definitely try to pick that up at the library, which... Support your local library.
When you're broke.
When you're broke, yeah, that's true. Great book, great story. The art, it seemed...
I think I remember first seeing Frank Quitely his art in like Heavy Metal magazine, like.
Okay.
And it's very like it's really different than a lot of things you'll see in comics. But I like it. It's beautiful.
Right. The front cover, it seems to me, it reminds me a little bit of those like early comic book strip Superman. The way his face looked, it's kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really how to explain it, but it looks. I mean, it's cool.
It's more streamlined, less busy kind of thing on the cover. I get it. Okay.
It doesn't look like armor that he's wearing.
Yeah. Well, no, this is a classic Superman. It's definitely not the New 52. Right. So awesome for that. But yeah, All-Star Superman. It's a book that doesn't need me to sell it because it's just awesome.
Right. It's standalone. Stands on its own.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah. So
moving along.
I picked up a couple of books from Dark Horse Comics. Steve Niles, who created 40 Days of Night and Criminal Macabre, he's got a new limited series out. It's called Breath of Bones, A Tale of the Golem. Right. And it's this black and white book. It's about Jewish folks kind of expecting the Germans invading.
Like
probably
Poland or something like that, yeah.
And
they're just waiting for the Germans to come and really just take their town in their long campaign throughout Poland.
So the setup, the series is going to be like they use the Golem to repel the Nazis. Well, this first issue you get no bit of the Golem. It's just kind of setting up with the characters that we're supposed to be invested in.
Right.
I was frustrated because I was like, I want that. Because the cover is like monster killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Awesome. But I'm going to get the next issue. The art's lovely by Dave Wachter, who I'm unfamiliar with, but really nice.
Yeah, the black and white in it was just... at first I opened it, I was like, black and white? That's not...
Just like the 40s.
Yeah. Because there was no color back in the 40s.
Yeah, It's a big transition when the world turned to color.
Right. It was cool. I'm glad it's in the black and white. I think it just adds a little
Well,
a
and
little
it
something
takes
to it.
away everything superfluous. And especially when you look at like scenery and like more open panels, so you kind of like look at, there's really a lot of beauty because you'll stop and you pay attention to those things rather than, oh, here comes, this superhero or whatever.
Right, yeah.
I like to read some different things, and this definitely qualifies.
Yeah.
Cool book. It's a 3-issue limited series. I'm gonna continue with it. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, 3 issues isn't that bad. It'll be interesting to see where the story goes and how, you know, um, how well. I mean, the first book itself was written really well.
Yeah,
I'm
the setup
excited
is
for the
good,
next.
and I feel like the next 2 issues will be like great payoff.
Yeah.
Even if I feel like it might even be the second half of issue 2 before we really see the Golem going.
Right.
But I have a feeling like number 3 will be like just monster smashing soldiers.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah. I would say if
It's
you're not
definitely
familiar,
look at the cover. It's definitely a Kirby monster.
yeah. If you're not familiar with the
Jewish folklore.
the Jewish folklore, maybe hit up Wikipedia. You won't get like the most perfect information, but you'll get an idea of
what's up with the Golem.
Yeah, because when a lot of people say Golem, a lot of people think the little like scraggly Lord of the Rings guy.
Oh, not Golem. That's
Yeah.
Golem.
Well, okay.
Okay. But
but yeah, good book. I'm excited to read it.
yay!
Yeah.
All right, and so our next and last book for this episode is Dark Horse put out one of their free comic book days had preview for this series, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, and I was really sucked in to the preview from Free Comic Book Day.
Right.
So I picked this up and it's good. Gerard Way from I think My Chemical Romance, the guy who did the Umbrella Academy. I don't know. I've never even listened to that music.
Right.
So I was like, that name's familiar. I don't know what, but it's a really bizarre book. I bought it really for the Becky Cloonan art.
Mm-hmm. Bizarre. That's a good way to describe this.
It's
book.
a kind of a post-apocalyptic something. I mean, do you want to try and?
For the gamers out there who might be listening, it reminded me a little bit of Fallout, with where the tech is still there and all the it's a little past the apocalyptic part. It's a ways down the road. But yeah, girl kind of lost. She gets picked up by these other guys. It's
gonna take a couple issues for me to get my bearings with this book.
Yeah. It seems like different gangs control different areas, and
there's these like vampire gang or something, the Draculoids.
Yeah.
And then the oppressive like force that's kind of like subjugating the people are the Scarecrows.
Right. There's a sub story with these like android prostitutes.
Yeah. It's so funny. The Free Comic Book Day preview, I was like, okay, I thought I had a better sense of what this was going to be about when I read that.
Okay.
And then now I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where I am, but
right.
It's interesting. I mean, it might be. Here's the thing: if you're reading Saga, and you're liking just the bizarre twist and turniness of that, I think the Killjoys is definitely a book you may also want to be reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's weird. The art is great.
I love Becky Cloonan.
The narration is kind of weird. It's kind of. It seems like it might be a song at parts.
Well, here's what it is. It's dialogue from a radio DJ.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's kind of interspliced with somebody's monologue. Also, it's it's interesting. I think it's. I don't want to say groundbreaking and throw hyperbole like that at it, but I definitely think it's a challenging read, but it's not Way is not afraid to take chances and experiment here as a writer, and I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that you may have a comic that you may have to read more than once to figure out everything's going on. It could be, you could see it as frustrating, or you could say, I'm getting more for my money.
Yeah.
So, So
yeah, I'll be interested to read if you're going to continue to pick up this book.
I think I am, at least for now.
Yeah. But I can also see where it might get tedious.
Yeah, if it doesn't, I'll give it another issue. If I'm like, all right, we'll see. But yeah. Did you have anything else to add, Spencer?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
All right. Well, this Comic Reflection is probably our shortest episode ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our Wednesday Warrior edition. Tune in next week.
Yeah, it's glad to be back.
Yeah.
It's fun.